This is the French Quarter during Mardi Gras season. I came out before a parade to see if I could convince anyone to go vegan. First, I ran into my friend Amanda, and we had a great conversation. So would you agree that animals should have rights?
Yes.
Okay.
I think the living things deserve respect.
We'll get back to Amanda in a second. I also met Megan. She works at a vegan-owned art gallery and was kind enough to welcome me inside.
I think animals should definitely have rights. I think animals, in my experience, animals do have rights to a certain extent. I grew up in farmland, so it's at least in my admittedly limited experience, the animals where I grew up were always very well cared for, and we're like a sort of like a pet almost.
So do you think it's respectful to pay for animals to be chopped up?
No.
Yeah, and it kind of sucks to like say it, you know?
No, well, I've also been a commercial fisherman in the past.
Okay.
And it actually wasn't the catching the fish and cleaning fish and cutting fish that was disturbing. It was when the time that we caught a pelican by his tag in the net, and that's when we quit fishing nets.
What percentage of animal products do you think come from factory farms?
I don't know, probably a big percentage.
It's 99%.
Yeah.
So that's more than it was whenever you were growing up as well.
I also wonder what is defined as a factory farm. I don't know the answer.
Here's a breakdown of the thresholds for factory farms, or CAFOs. What would be a humane way to kill an animal?
It's a really tough question. Quickly, and quickly would be the answer. Quickly and as catch the animal as unaware as possible.
Would you ever eat a dog?
I would probably eat a dog if I was starving.
If you were starving, yeah, for sure. And I think if you're starving, I mean, I would eat a human if I were starving, probably, right?
Yeah. I don't judge people who have been forced in those positions at all.
Because then it comes from necessity, right? And if there's a necessity for it, then you can like justify it, right?
Yeah.
What does humane mean? Like if we looked it up in the dictionary.
It's a great question. I don't know the definition.
No one's ever gotten it right. So it's compassionate or benevolent. Do you think you can kill someone compassionately if they don't need to die?
God, that's a loaded question.
I'm just replacing humane with a synonym.
I
I know it does come across as loaded. I don't mean it to be that way.
Well, you do. Yeah. I actually do think you can kill, maybe not a person. Yeah, I think there are compassionate ways to kill things.
What are they?
That's not something that I would claim to know, or
So
question for the philosophers.
So I think the only compassionate way to kill someone is if they are in pain and need to die and want to die.
Yeah, I would agree with you.
Do you think that humans need to eat animals to survive and thrive?
No.
Okay.
Well, I mean, they need protein, but that could be done with insects.
Okay, so say you get protein from like an animal or an insect. Where do they get the protein?
I don't really know, because like a grasshopper is eating grass, and then it turns into, but I guess because they're alive. So life makes protein.
Plants.
Well, plants don't have protein. Well,
Yeah,
actually,
yeah,
they do.
yeah, plants got-
but not all of them, I guess.
All plants have some protein. There's different amounts in different, plants or whatever. Do you think that the taste of something is more important than animals' lives?
It depends. It depends on the animal.
Really?
For me, God, that's awful to say out loud.
I'm not judging you, by the way. I want people to be honest, so I appreciate it.
It depends on the animal. Honestly, the taste of food is very important to me, and I've had delicious vegan meals that really could just use a little bit of bacon.
You like animals?
I do.
Yeah. Like all animals or some or...
I do, and I've raised animals to eat.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Which kinds?
Yes. Rabbits.
You raised rabbits to eat?
Yes, but we gave it up because nobody wanted to kill them.
Ah.
But we gave them names. Like,
Was it hard to eat them after you had gotten to know them?
You would think it was, but I'm kind of a farm girl, so
totally.
so people raise hogs and name them like Bacon Bit and Ham Hock. And
Do you know much about, since you brought up bacon, I like to talk about pigs. Do you know much about like kind of the life that pigs go through?
Yeah.
Can you describe the process of birth to death for me?
It depends on the farm.
98.6% of pigs come from factory farms. Why don't we start there?
Right. So a factory farm pig is born and the piglet is taken from the mom pretty quickly, and it's they live in cement pens, and it's pretty disgusting.
What happens like to their tails and teeth?
Oh, they remove the tails and the teeth, don't they? Yeah.
Because if they don't, the pigs go so insane that they like bite each other's tails off.
Yeah.
What would be the biggest barrier for you for going vegan?
I guess the time it takes to cook vegan food, it seems like. I need a little more, I probably need some more vegan recipes.
Okay. So if I gave you some recipes, would you look at them, maybe test them?
I would try, because I do try. It's just, fish is so quick to cook. When you're cooking for one and you're busy, it's just an easy, quick thing.
So more like convenience than anything.
Mm-hmm.
How are pigs killed?
I don't know.
So they're typically...
Cows are, but not pigs.
Typically, pigs are killed in gas chambers.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's awful.
Yeah, it's awful, right?
It's really awful.
It's considered the most humane way to kill them because, unlike cattle, pig are much more herd animals, so they don't like to go in single file. So they put them in gas chambers of like 2 or 3 and lower them into CO2 gas, which is very, very painful. What do you think is more important, convenience or animals' lives?
Well, I do value my life over...
Not your life, convenience.
Well, I mean, yeah, of course I value their lives.
What would be the biggest barrier for you personally going vegan? Because it sounds like you agree with a lot of the morality of it.
I do agree with a lot of the morality of it. For me, it would be, it would be the lifestyle change. It would be that I couldn't just go anywhere. I would have to think a lot harder about what I was eating and where I was eating it. And I would have to put a lot more effort into my expectations around food.
You think basically your life would be harder?
Yeah, I think my life would be harder.
Do you think that it would be hard to be vegan?
Yes.
Yeah. On a scale of 1 to 10, how hard would you say it is?
It's hard enough that I don't do it because of the difficulty doing it.
Yeah, I'm so glad you brought that up because that's exactly how I felt before I was vegan. Because like, you know me, you know I'm lazy. Like I don't really like doing that much, and I didn't want to make my life harder. So when I went vegan, I was shocked at how easy it was, and I was like, clearly this can't just be me. So then I've asked, every vegan I meet, how hard is it? And they all say it's like a 1 or 2 out of 10 on difficulty. Okay. So it's one of those things that you kind of build up in your mind to be harder than it is. Do you know anything about the relation between animal agriculture and climate change?
Yeah. What? I know quite a bit. Animal agriculture creates a lot of waste, a lot of waste that goes like not just animal waste, but chemical waste that then ends up in the water supply, that ends up in the air, produces a lot of CO2, greenhouse gases. I mean, it is a industry that is really dirty and not well regulated.
So the other thing I want to make clear is that a lot of people think that vegans are saying that animals and humans are like equal, but really what we're saying is that animals' lives are more important than human tastes, convenience, and habits.
Yes.
Is that something you would agree with?
Yes, I would agree with that, yeah.
Do you know much about, or anything really, about the pandemic connection? Because that's kind of what got me interested in veganism.
I don't.
Yeah, so it's really interesting because like, I remember it was right after COVID was when I went vegan. My friend shared like this infographic about how 75% of new diseases jump from animals to humans. And if you look at kind of the worst pandemics we've had over the last while, like most of them have come from animal agriculture, like the 1918 Spanish flu that started on a pig farm in Kansas. So factory farming didn't even exist then.
Right.
So factory farming wasn't the problem. It was just these animals being in close contact with humans. And then when you look at factory farms, scientists have said that if you wanted to create a pandemic, the best thing to do would be to create factory farms.
Good job, humanity. We did it again.
So, like, did you like being in a pandemic?
No,
Yeah.
it was not a good situation.
No, it wasn't. And so I think that, like, when we think about, because we all have this choice in the grocery store, we're like, oh, I could buy like the plant-based meat or like the beef or whatever. And tied up within the beef is not just the animal suffering, but the environmental costs, the increased chance of pandemics. And you don't get any of that with the plant-based meat, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, that's true. And the plant-based meat is surprisingly delicious.
Do you think that taste is more important than animals' lives?
No.
Sweet. Do you have any more questions for me, or?
No, you're gonna have to give me some recipes though.
Okay. Yeah, I
Yeah.
can definitely do that.
Yeah.
Sick. All right, let's cut it here. Thank you for watching today. If you want to watch more street interviews, click to your left. If you want to support my work, click to your right. Special thanks to my morally superior patrons, Amy, Andy, and Deepak.